Why do people flagpole? The flagpoling workaround is used for temporary residents to avoid long wait times for things like work permits, which can take up to 100 days, and the employer is insisting on seeing an actual work permit, they resort to the flagpoling. A U.S. visa is not necessary, but there could be major implications down the road. If the American border officials refuse them entry into the U.S. for the purpose of flagpoling. If you have a valid visa to go to the United States and you actually spend some time there, it's not considered to be a flagpole. Typically, people are looking for a postgraduate work permit, the International Mobility Program permit, an open work permit, or work permits based on treaties. It's really frustrating when people can't get the basic service that they need. They have to wait 100 days to be processed inland inside Canada, online, and so they are frustrated. As of May 28, the processing time for a temporary resident to obtain a work permit from inside Canada was 93 days, according to Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada's website. Canadian entry points, and since 2021, there has been a year-over-year increase, according to CBSA statistics shared with Global News. This year alone, a total of 32,410 people have flagpoled. As of June 2 last year, 61,561 used this vehicle or this opportunity, which represented a 90% jump from 2022 when 32,394 people flagpoled at the US-Canada borders. What are the concerns with flagpoling? There are some potential risks to flagpoling, including refusal of re-entry into Canada. CBSA can decide to confiscate your original passport and may ask you to book your ticket to go back to your home country, or they will return all your documents and applications because the CBSA officer is refusing to process your application. If you decide to come to a port of entry for immigration services, you may find long line-ups and your turn may not come before the end of service hours. The CBSA highly recommends people to use IRCC's online services. Temporary residents do not need to flagpole to obtain immigration services. Temporary residents who need to renew their work permit or study permit should complete an online application on the IRCC website before their permit expires. For me, as an immigration consultant, I generally don't recommend the flagpoling as an option for my clients because of the difficulties they may run into at the border, including the duty of candor obligation required by Canadian law. It opens up the client or applicant to all kinds of vulnerabilities. For recent graduates or tourist visa holders with the positive LMIA, in particular looking for a work permit, there's really no reason to be putting yourself at risk by doing the flagpoling. Flagpoling disrupts normal travel and increases the unpredictability of wait times at our busiest border crossing. I urge Canada to work with the US to end flagpoling to keep travel across our shared border flowing smoothly as he wrote. So think about it before deciding to delve into flagpoling. Upon entry to the United States, you inform the officer your intention is not to enter the U.S. but not go through flagpoling. Depending on your nationality, they deny your entry to the U.S. and pass you a paper that explains you tried to enter their country. Please note that you must discuss U.S. entry denial in future applications to Canada or other countries. Otherwise, you could face misrepresentation allegations. You return to Canada and say you intend to update your status. The officer will send you to the CBSA office. A CBSA office review your document. If the officer believes you hold all necessary documents and meet all the required documents, the CBSE officer issue you the new status. Here are some examples of flag pulling reasons. Applying for a work permit, landing as a permanent resident of Canada, applying for a study permit, or extending your stay as a visitor. Of course, the devil is in the details. Make sure that you qualify for flag pulling before taking action. I would like to share my experience when I did the flag pulling with my client. We have to drive the earliest to avoid the lineup and traffic as we were coming from Richmond Hill, Ontario. Upon reaching the Rainbow Bridge, we went through the USA border right away. Upon approaching the US border, we informed the US border that we are going inside the US for flag pulling. As usual, they are not smiling. They will never smile and will look onto your passport while identifying your faces inside the car. If you are wearing shades, they will ask you to remove them. The officer will also ask you to roll down all the windows. Then they will take your original passport and ask you to get through the park to their designated parking area and go inside the office. Upon reaching the office, someone will approach you and inform you as to what floor you can go. We used the elevator and went up together with other applicants who wants to do the flag pulling. There are chairs outside and we'll ask you to wait until your name will be called out. Once you will be called out, remind yourselves that when you see their faces, point blank and no emotion, don't be scared. That is not you, it is them. So don't worry and don't be afraid to their face value, the US borders faces. After that, they will ask you what is your intention and will answer you want to flag pull. Then after that, they will look into their computer and will ask you to wait outside, and once they are ready to bring you in the lobby, an officer will meet you there to hand you your original password. One, you are going to be assured that you are getting into the car or you're turning back to Canada. They will give you a yellow paper to show to the CBSA or Canadian border. You will be paying a toll gate payment around more or less $5. Then, once a little drive to an officer, you will show the yellow paper stating that you are flag pulling. Then the CBSA officer, who is then smiling, will direct you to a designated parking and get inside the CBSA office and inform inside that you are doing flag pulling. A CBSA officer will then be smiling. Ask every document you have to support your application. They may say the more documents, the better. Don't forget the following documents: your passport photo, the LMIA letter from ESDC for a work permit application, the admission letter from a designated learning institute for a study permit, confirmation of permanent residency for landing as a permanent resident, don't forget your contract, notes from the immigration authorities, and other necessary documents depending on the application type. The documents will then be reviewed on the spot while you were directed to sit and wait until your name will be called out. The CBSA officer will decide. Whatever the decision of the CBSA officer, then that will be the turning point of your life. That's the end of flag pulling. Everyone, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my video to help me spread a non-sugar-coated practical immigration law advices. This is your immigration law specialist, Norlin Oligo Sarma. All the best, everyone.